Hi everybody, this is Joe Protexter from Siouxland Golf Lessons. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to chip the ball higher up in the air. So when we're getting close to the green, sometimes we're not always going to be able to just hit our default chip shot where it's just nice and easy and we only have to use our body. Sometimes you're going to run into a bush or an elevation change. I mean, this happens a lot more than you would think. And it's your job as a golfer to become really, really good at understanding how to be able to control the launch angle. So really quickly, what I'm going to go through here for the people who are just watching this as a review from their lesson, I'm going to go through those steps. So the first step, we're going to go through our basic setup of ball forward, weight forward, hands forward. Now the biggest thing that changes here is as we take the club back, we hinge the hands up. We keep the arms low and we hinge the club up like this. Again, we're not taking the club up to the top. In fact, we're trying to keep the hands as low as possible and hinge that arm. We also want to maintain 90 degrees. You do not need to try to get the club past 90 degrees right here, but at the same time, you don't want to keep the club low. That would just be a regular chip. So you go through that and then you throw the club down into the ground, just like all of our chips or all of our shots, and you can see that pops the ball up quite nicely. In the bottom here, you can see it says 19 feet, and if I compare that to a regular chip here, you'll see that the regular chip definitely does not get nearly as high right there, where it says 10 feet. So that's how you can start to hit that higher lofted shot. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit more in depth, so if you'd like to see that, please stick around for the explanation. So everything that I'm about to cover in this section, you don't have to necessarily think about standing over the ball. This is just so you can be more understanding of how to produce this shot. So for the high shot, nothing is going to change about our setup from a regular chip shot. Ball in front, weight forward, hands forward. All of that stays the same. What you need to be able to change is your ability to change the attack angle of the club going into the ground. And what I mean by that, think about like a parabola, right? The more vertical a parabola comes down, the more vertically it will leave on the other side. And so if we take the club and we can leverage getting it to come down into the ball more vertically, that should launch the ball off more vertically. So the way we're going to do that and create that leverage is we're simply going to turn with our body, and then we're simply going to open up the hands a little bit so that our wrist can hinge this way. This is really important that you open the hands right here, because if you don't and you try to hinge this way, this cupping motion is incredibly uncomfortable and it's not very effective for actually hitting the ball. If you roll the hand open, it's basically taking the club out in front of you like this and you just hinge it up and down like so. So you hinge it here and then you hinge it this way. Now again, hands need to be low. If the hands start to come up, you can't actually create a downward motion. It'll be downward, but it'll be from a very, very shallow angle, and that will push the ball out very low, and that would be more like a bump and run. So we'll go through that again. So we're rotating back, opening the hands, and then basically stopping, but hinging, and then on the way down, we're gonna pull, release, turn the face in, and again, it'll be much more vertical. And you can see it creates a much higher ball flight. We look over to the right, and again, 18 feet, pretty consistent if you can control it. And that just comes from hitting a bunch of reps. The other thing that you're gonna get out of these types of shots is, generally speaking, they're gonna go a little bit longer. And the reason why is because on a regular chip shot, the club is maybe only, we'll say 3.5 feet, from where the club is when it comes back. But then if you hinge, even though my arms aren't really moving, I've just added a whole bunch of distance in the actual arc of where the club is down to where the ball is. And that extra distance will translate to speed, okay? So one last time, ball off the front foot, weight forward, hands forward, turn, hinge, hit down, and that will pop that ball up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions about why this is different from the regular chip shot, and I hope you find this to be a useful tool in your golf game. Thanks, and have a nice day.